Hello friends and YouTubers alike, and welcome to yet another exciting episode of, you guessed it, Talking to the Camera. And a happy belated Chinese New Year's to all you, for it is now the year of the ox. So to all you born in 1925, 1937, 1949, 1961, 1973, 1985, 1997, and 2009, it's your year. And that means your drink at any local Mandarin's Chinese buffet restaurant is the milk chocolate mousse, alongside spicy chicken and sauteed mixed vegetables. And yes, the only reason I'm wearing glasses is just so I can read that list of dates. Yeah, we're done with these. For all those who buy comic books at the local comic shop, you may wonder how they get there. Well, it's through Diamond Distributions, or Diamond Distributors, or whatever they call themselves. But there's been a recent development with Diamond in the comic industry that may very well change the way that comics are distributed, or at least for smaller publishers. Let's take a look. In short, Diamond has raised the minimum purchase order for a given title from $1,500 to $2,500. Through a whole bunch of math regarding overhead and discount, this means your average comic will have to sell over 2,100 copies to meet the benchmark, which to say isn't all that hard for the big league companies, like DC, Marvel, Image, and Dark Horse. But for the smaller press, well, as Dan Nadel said, I'm f***ed. However, because of this, many small press companies are turning to other means to distribute comics, such as digital mobile devices, like iVerse for the iPhone. Now, the iVerse media applications are pretty intuitive as far as downloading comics and reading them, because that's what you do with them. Just search up iVerse media and you get a pretty big list of comics you can choose from. First issues of a few of them are actually free, so I really have no excuse not to download them. Now, personally, I do prefer to hold comics, as opposed to read them digitally. I stare at screens all day long. I don't need to do it in my leisure time, but I am interested in our new developments of how we receive our comics these days. Digitally, through the sky, taken directly from the sky into the palm of our hands. It's magic.
Upcoming events.
Now, I know I have already talked about Kevin Smith being live at Roy Thompson Hall this Friday and Saturday. I've got tickets! But the fun doesn't stop there. Bloor Cinema on Bloor Street in Toronto is also playing a film fest for Kevin Smith, kicking things off on Sunday, February 8th with Clerks and Clerks 2, Monday, February 9th with Mallrats and Chasing Amy, and Tuesday, February 10th with Dogma and Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. And there will be Q&As following those screenings as well. At least I think most of them. I'm not sure how it's going to work. Now you can order tickets for the individual double screening nights, or get the whole pass for the whole 3 days from ticketweb.ca. Now, aside that, Jason Mewes is also in town, I believe. I don't know if he'll be there for all the Q&As, but apparently he's hosting the Foo Awards live at the Sound Academy on February the 5th, which is also the same night as the first Q&A. See, you can find useful information in iWeekly, alongside some utter schlock, as Neil Krasik's review of the Repo Genetic Opera DVD exemplifies. The guy who directed Saws 2 to 4 takes a stab at sci-fi rock opera. Upside, it features Buffy alum Anthony Head. Downside, it's directed by the guy who made Saws 2 to 4. Ha ha ha. Ho ho ho. Hee hee hee. Hilarity. Watch this video, you heartless jerk. What do you mean the video's missing? Oh, come on, I was going to totally prove my point. It was all about how Darren Lynn Bousman, or whatever his name is, the director of the Saw movies, wanted to do Repo first, but ended up doing Saw instead. And also how there's another movie called The Repossession Mambo with a similar plot coming out. You win this time, Neil. This time.
Comics you should read.
Now, when it comes to manga, I read my fair share of every possible genre and style and blah, 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 blah. But there's just too many manga about high school. High school kids having fun. High school kids not having fun. High school kids on adventure. Danger, excitement, finding love. Bah! Where's the stories for us old people? Stories for people who just left university and are friggin' confused in what the hell they want to do with their lives. Well, there's quite a few just like that if you just keep your eyes open. Now, you should already be familiar with Gen Shiken, so I'm not going to bother talking about that one, but give it a read if you haven't yet. Forgive me if I pronounce this wrong, but Solanin. However you pronounce it, this is a really good read. Miko Inoue is a recent college grad working as an office lady in a job she hates. Her boyfriend Nero is permanently crashing at her apartment because his job as a freelance illustrator doesn't pay enough for the rent. And her parents in the country keep sending her boxes of veggies that just rot in the fridge. Straddling the line between her years as a student and the rest of her life, Miko struggles with the feeling that she's just not cut out to be part of the real world. Interestingly enough, that's pretty much the premise of the whole first chapter. It's got clean art, funny dialogue, and a pretty decent life story. There is one major event that I didn't really agree with that happens, but, that's the story they want to tell. That's the story they tell. And if you enjoyed that, you'd also enjoy Ohikkoshi. Why are all the life stories so hard to pronounce? A compilation of 3 stories, the first one a little more realistic, and if you find the art to be familiar, you won't be mistaken. Yes, it's from the guy who did Blade of the Immortal. Check it out. And if you must have your younger kids doing things and stories as well, a recent recommendation from this guy is Bokurano. Bunch of kids, summer school, one giant robot, the fate of the world, and many other twists. Due to some complications with its creator and Dark Horse Comics, it may not see release in North America shores, so be sure to check it out online at Manga Fox or get your hands on the torrent. I read it all in 2 days. I enjoyed it. Oh my. Well, that's all for this week's episode of Talking to the Camera. I'm doing this one a little rushed. Sorry, there should be a lot more interesting stuff next week. I mean the week after, because I only do them bi-weekly. Oh my gosh, I'm tired.